Hello and welcome to the Lyon Show. I'm your host, Robert Lyon. Today we have the great pleasure of talking to Mitch Sapoff. So how's it going, man?
It's going pretty well. How about yourself, Robert?
Real good, man. So I'm real excited to have him on the show. He's a sales legend, we'll say. He's a badass. But Mitch, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody like a little bit about you and kind of what you're up to?
Awesome, for sure. So once again, my name is Mitch. I'm the founder of the RapidClose Method. Basically, I've been in sales for about 5-6 years. As you guys can probably tell, I'm still pretty young. I still got all my hair and everything like that. But yeah, I got my start in sales about 5-6 years ago. I started a software development company with a buddy of mine. Literally had no idea what I was doing, but I was in charge of running the full sales and marketing side of things. We hustled, we learned fast, we figured things out somewhat, and we got to a point where we were doing 50K MRR. And that's when I was like, okay, have a pretty solid knack for the sales thing. So I started kind of like formalizing my approach, started doing some trainings. And I started noticing that in the trainings, there were a lot of like great pieces that were definitely, important to add to my process. But some things felt a little bit unnatural. So what I did was I created my own process. And it's the most streamlined way to get from a rapport phase where you're first entering the conversation to a close at the end. And I've been doing it for the last 3-4 years with this method, and my clients have been doing the same. And let's just say we're getting really good results.
Killer, man. I want to talk a little bit about tech sales for sure. Cause like, that's just like the future, I guess, of like most sales things is selling. It's like, who was your customer for the tech kind of, I want to say startup, but I don't know what it was basically. Well, who was your main customer?
Yeah. So we were actually working with startups.
Oh, cool.
And in like smaller businesses, basically they came to us, they had an idea for an app or some kind of web platform, and we would build it for them.
Oh, that's sick. So you would sell the coding or just basically try and package it up for whatever they needed?
Exactly. So we did design, development, the whole 9 yards.
That's cool. I mean, I've done sales, all kinds of things, but it all seems like there's going to be some really big like upside potential just for selling tech. Like I feel like if you're going to get into sales and you're looking for like a good high ticket closing thing, tech sales is like I don't know if it's like a niche, but it's definitely a niche thing to be a salesman for specifically software and things like that. And I see that in the future, like it's just a safe job, I guess, if you get into it. So, and then now you basically went from that, or like what else kind of got you really on this career path of sales and like what made you kind of fall in love with it, or where was it?
For sure. So, like I said, it all kind of happened pretty naturally. I realized that I had a knack for it. And then I wanted to kind of make sure that what I was doing at the software development agency wasn't a fluke, right? So I started partnering up with other B2B companies. So both agencies as well as like software companies, SaaS. And I was helping them run their sales processes pretty much start to finish. And I had some success there. And I was like, this is great. But the thing with tech sales is, for the most part, it's a little bit of a longer sales cycle. And for me, I'm not the most patient person, and I like that immediate feedback more so. And that's right around the time that that whole Dan Lok high ticket closer thing was like floating around, and this was this blue ocean at the time that everyone was getting into. And I'm like, what is this all about, right? So then I ended up, taking a couple of trainings. I did go through the Dan Lok training. It's not all as bad as people say it is. There's some.
I was wondering, dude. All I hear is like, "Oh, this is garbage." But I mean, anything to get you kind of in the door is better than nothing. But
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to take everything there with a grain of salt. Like some things are, at like actual effective strategies in the field, and others are not, and you just kind of throw those out. But that, along with some other trainings that I went through, was like, okay, cool. Now I can actually close B2C with these like one call closes. And that was really exciting for me, right? You get on the phone with somebody, 30 minutes later, they're a client. Amazing. Sign me up. So then I started doing those kinds of sales. And that's really where the rapid close method was born, really getting on and off the call in 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, worst case scenario, if it's a longer sales process, a higher ticket item, something along those lines.
So basically, like this last company I was with, it was just me and two other guys, and I was just the whole sales department in the beginning. We went from like 10,000 a week when they were just doing it to like I got to 100,000, almost 200,000 a week closing for these guys. And when it was just me, I was just shooting from the hip. Like I was just fucking doing kind of what you were saying. And I was literally closing in like 15 minutes. Like I would do these whole calls. And I don't know if it was just the volume of calls that I was basically taking is why I kept making money. But then once we got a team, my calls got longer. So I kind of want to hear your rapid. I basically just sell the rapid close because I'm kind of torn between the both. Cause I remember when I had like just the level of numbers of calls, sure, I was making a shitload of money, but then as I kind of developed, I like to ask open-ended questions and dig into their freaking emotions and all that stuff and then close it at the end. So I guess let me hear it. What makes you love the close, the rapid close?
So, the thing with this is like, you could still ask the questions that are really going to get to the bottom of why the prospect wants to do this in a short period of time. Like most really solid discoveries don't need to take more than 10 to 15 minutes. And then the other piece of it is like, people think that you need to give everyone this elaborate pitch, this 25 minute long presentation of all the different features and benefits and everything like that. Like, you don't need that, right? Just talk about, have a dialogue with them, right? Like, have a quick conversation about how certain parts of what you're offering can help their exact situation based on the discovery that you did. Boom, in and out. All of a sudden, now it's time to talk about the money, and then you got some objections. So deal with those and close. And I totally hear what you're saying also about like, at first you had like the quick like 15-minute stuff, and then as you started,
I had my thing that I would say, and it was just like brr, bum, 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 bum. And then we hired all these like big monster sales coaches to like teach the team, and then from that it got longer, and like it was totally different though. But the difference was when I did the longer calls, I did feel a little bit better about the calls. Like I felt like I got all the information I needed, and if it was a potential close, it would close. But before I was closing deals in 15 minutes, like I was telling you, like it was just like on fire, just printing money basically. So like I said, it's just kind of both. And I feel like maybe salespeople, like they just get too much information, so they maybe get like analysis paralysis, but it just depends. I mean, if you have that flow of calls and you can do it in 15 minutes, then why not? Right. I mean, why not just crush it? But if you have less calls, I think you got to milk it a little more is kind of my thinking.
I think
I don't know if milking is a word, but
well, no, like I think milking is a great way to put it. I think it's a happy medium, right? So if you have just like several calls a day, right, and you don't have like a super stacked, schedule the rest of the day, then maybe it is worth your time to be super diligent on the calls. But if you're taking a full pack of leads and you're taking 6, 8, 10, 15 calls a day,
right,
do them in as short of a period of time as possible, because you can build a lot of momentum that way. 15 minutes, I don't know about. I mean, I've had some closes that have happened.
I would time my pitch, man. I had it down. It was like, and then I would just get to the thing. And it obviously it changed, but that's what I was doing. And it was working. It's really what took the business from, like I said, like 10,000 a week to 100,000 a week. And it was like, I was crushing it just because I figured out what the main things were, and I just had it down packed. But then I burned out too. So that's the other thing that you got to worry about is like the rapid close, murdering it, killing it. And then I hit a dip, and I just like, I think the main reason for that company though, that I hit that dip was I lost faith because I was selling it so much, but I lost faith in their delivery of the actual thing. Like, I think that's a big thing for all of sales is you really have to be convinced yourself on what you're selling. Otherwise, you can burn out, or you can lose the passion, I guess. So it's pretty wild stuff.
Absolutely.
So we're obviously been, chatting for sales. Like, what about some newbie sales tips? Like, I know you're coaching people now. What does that kind of look like, or what is that kind of doing for you, and how's that been?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a program now. It's called the Rapid Closer, right? And basically, someone would come in, and I would make sure that so like most people that I work with, they already have the fundamentals down, right? It's very rare that I have somebody coming in that like doesn't know anything about inbound closing or high ticket sales. They typically went through one of the more, rudimentary, like fundamental programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I help them really dial in their nuances, right? Things that are going to take them from a 20% close rate or a 33% close rate to a 50% close rate, 70, 80% close rate, right? And then once they're there, then we can actually start shortening their process and streamlining their process to actually go from having the 45-minute long calls, the hour-long calls, to the 35-minute long calls, so that they have the option of either taking more calls in a day so that they can make more money, or just working less hours so that they can recover properly and not burn out, to your point, right?
Yeah.
And right, and then like once they go through that process and once they're actually ready to get placed on a great offer where they could be doing 15, 20, 30K a month, working 20, 25, maximum 30 hours a week, then I set them up with that offer. So it's really kind of like the full package.
That's cool. I want the secret sauce, man. How are you getting these people to find these gigs? I want to know.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, so if I'm actually working with somebody as part of the program, basically I set them up with a gig that is part of my network, right? So for the last 5, 6 years, it's like when you start performing well, like especially as a young dude, you get hit up by a lot of people that want you to join their sales team. But there's only one of me, right? But what I can do is I can teach my process and teach my methods to a vast number of people and then place them on the same offers that are reaching out to me saying, Mitch, I want you to close for me. Make sense?
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. So just DMs though, basically hit up everybody on LinkedIn and Instagram, or like just basically all your network from what you've already been doing. You just are able to take people that are coming to you and then just be like, hey, I trained this guy. Take a look at what he can do.
Exactly. So I'm not DMing anybody saying, hey, like I have a closer for you. I mean, I'm definitely DMing closers saying, hey, I can help you level up and get you an awesome gig. But when it comes to the actual business side of things, right? Like the offers themselves. I mean, these are like relationships that I've built for the last 5, 6 years. So it's kind of more so like they trust me that I have good closers for them. I trust them that they have a good offer for the closers. And it's like a two-sided marketplace that just works.
Nice. That's awesome. And then I think, well, like in my mind, at least when I think of like sales and closing, it basically goes, first you got to find the gig, then you got to go lead generation, you got to master the presentation, and then you got to master the close. So do you have any tips for people out there that are trying to get their lead generation game up?
Lead generation. Yeah. So when it comes to prospecting, I mean, I don't really have much of a background in that. So mine is more so like inbound closing. A lead comes to me and I get them on it. Well, like they already booked a call with me. And so I run them through like discovery, pitch, close. Now, prospecting though, I have done, like sporadically throughout my career. Definitely with the software development agency, I was doing a lot of the prospecting. I do a lot of prospecting right now for my sales coaching program, obviously. Um, Tips when it comes to that is like, I mean, I could tell you like the standard, go to the relevant Facebook groups where your customer hangs out, add them, and like and send them messages. I think everybody knows about that method already. Everybody also knows about the method where it's like you got to post content and give value and get people to comment and then add them and everything like that. But I think something that is even stronger of a strategy than that. And like this is something that I don't know if I learned this from anywhere or came up with it myself. I don't really remember. But it's like if there's a certain person that you need to get in touch with and they are a great potential client for you or potential partner, investor, look at who your mutual friends are, whether that be on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Reach out to everyone that's on that mutual friends list and ask how they know them. And the person that knows them best, ask them if they feel comfortable making an intro. Now, ideally, you probably did something good for that person in the past. So like always be giving people value, and then it's going to come around because you'll get some awesome introductions, like especially if you want to, speak to a very like high level person about buying your shit or about like investing into your company or whatever it is.
Nice. What I like to do is I would try and at least send like 100 new potential leads a day, a message, and I would do 25 through Facebook, 25 LinkedIn, 25 TikTok, and then basically just try and find whatever channels, YouTube, I could, and that would be like my lead generation for the day. And then whenever I found someone who was interested, I would always lead with value, number one. Number two, I would be like a compliment. Number three would just be like some sort of joke, but those are the ways that I would kind of try and keep my pipeline flowing, because I liked those random organic sales that like you get yourself without just filling up your calendar. I mean, obviously when your calendar is jam packed, like it's pretty sick, like, but not all salespeople are that fortunate, I guess, you know what I mean? So it's just interesting. And then basically Next one is like, the presentation. So you are a big advocate for the rapid close method, right? That's kind of like what you're teaching. What are some like just tidbits that will help the listener maybe get more successful at closing that you like to give newbies, I guess, or other people that are maybe not so new?
Yeah. Okay. So are you talking about like the full sales call, or you're just talking about
Just
the
I call it the presentation, right? So
presentation? Yeah.
whatever the whole shebang from hello until you're gonna really drop the price on them.
Oh,
Like what
sure.
do you like to do? Do you have any tips?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so you don't need as much rapport as you think you need, right? Like you don't need 5 to 7 minutes of like rapport building and talking about the weather and their dogs, right? You build a quick sort of rapport and then you move on. You set context, you let them know exactly why they're on the call. You do a little bit of a discovery, and like let them tell you whether it's they have stronger pains or stronger goals, right? Because depending on who you're speaking to, right? Maybe someone is not trying to get out of the gutter, right? Maybe they're just trying to go from Earth to outer space, if you will, right? So that's very important. And then once you get into the pitch, just tie back what you're offering back to what they said that they are struggling with, or where they said they want to go, and answer their questions, and then drop the price. Right? It's pretty straightforward, and I know it sounds easier than it actually is, like in practice, but no need to overcomplicate it, right? You don't need these like elaborate 1 hour long scripts and everything like that. They're unnecessary.
I think I watched one of your videos and you said like let the prospect pick their own journey or something like that, right? Isn't that what you said?
That's key, man, right? So
Yeah.
if you ask like, how can I help? Then it's fully in their hands where the call is going to go. But yet you're not giving them control because you're still setting the context, right? And you're still in charge of the conversation, right? So it's kind of like a mutually collaborative frame as opposed to a combative frame, me versus you. You know what I mean?
Um, yeah, no, I think it's awesome. And I think if you can get to that point where you can really close the deal rapidly, have 30-minute calls, it's so much better. But I don't know. I hope that the people that you're teaching like understand like you got to basically, crawl before you can run, essentially. But once you get there, like you're gonna be able to kill it. So that's pretty sick.
Exactly. Yeah, like if my clients are coming in and they have like vast experience in high ticket sales and like they already really know what they're doing, then we could go straight to actually figuring out how we can streamline their process. But if someone is like relatively new to the game, even if they have like 1 or 2 years of experience, right, and they have the fundamentals, let's first drill in the nuances, right? And your process might still take 45, 60 minutes, but once you get great at that, now let's talk about how we can streamline it. Make sense?
Yeah. Let's talk about the close, man, because a lot of people they muff it at the end. they just like, and then I was there too. Like I didn't realize that you really do kind of have to like I don't know what the word is. It's like aggressive. You have to push it a little bit though, because people will give you the objections, and if you're kind of like new, you're just gonna be like, oh, well then it's impossible. There's no way he'll still close. But once you start doing more sales, you hear objections and you just try and basically flip it on its head and understand the seller, or understand the whatever it is, understand their perspective, and then basically flip it on its head so that you can overcome that objection and things like that. So give us some tips or some advice on closing or how you like to do it. So yeah, man, I just kind of want to know, like how do you help people that you're coaching or like yourself, like overcome objections and basically do the price drop and the close? And what have you seen to up your success, basically, or to basically make people more of like an animal at the close, like, or whatever you think people need to be to profit and be successful with this?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's like two different schools of thought, right? One school of thought is like mindset is everything, like that literally affects your performance. The other school of thought is like mindset is bullshit, just do it. Like, right? So, I think mindset is so important because it's like if you have trouble making fast decisions, how can you expect your prospects to make fast decisions? If you have trouble spending 4 figures or 5 figures after a phone call, how can you expect your prospects to do that? If you have to speak to your wife about everything, how can you expect your prospects to move forward without speaking to theirs? Right? So it's like the energy that you put out into the world is the exact energy that that comes back around. So if you want to have success closing deals, you have to be the person that you want to close, that can close
Mm-hmm.
when you have your call with them, if that makes sense, right? So that's one part of it. The other piece is like understanding that if they get off of, like, as long as they're a good fit for the program, if they get off of the phone, there's a way lower likelihood of them closing. And it's not that you're losing money by not getting them in, because money's one thing, but what's more important is purpose and impact. And you're doing them a disservice if you're letting them get off the phone without investing in your program, if it can actually help them get to where they want to go. So those are, some of the key pieces here when it comes to the mindset behind it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's like mindset and consistency, but they gotta meet each other. But yeah, no, I just realized, like, when I was a little bit more aggressive towards the close, I would close way more. And I mean, it's not like I'm being, trying to like get people's money or anything like that. It's just sometimes people need that push. They need that extra convincing, 100%. And it's just an interesting thing though, because it's like, well, I think it's like if you're buying anything, if you don't want to buy it, then you're just going to kind of walk away. But if you do want to buy it and you just need that little extra push, like, and somebody's like, no, you should do it, you get that peer pressure a little bit, like if it's for like anything in life, you're probably going to do it more, be more likely to do it. You just need to embrace that.
And people are going to be grateful. You have no idea how many times someone was like about to not do it, and I pushed a little bit, and then when they did they're like, Mitch, thank you so much. I wouldn't have done it without you, right? And then they text me 2 months later, like, thank you so much for not letting me get off the call, because now I'm crushing it in the program doing XYZ. So, and also there's a way to push without being pushy. And that's like its own like full on like training. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's an art and a science, like, at the same time. And I absolutely love it. Yeah. My favorite part of a sales call is when they start giving objections. So
yeah, that's when it actually is on. That's when it's like, I mean, you kind of have like your presentation, but then once you have to actually think smart and think on your feet to get them over the finish line, that is kind of where it's a little bit more fun, as opposed to randoms. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I love sales. What other tips that maybe we haven't touched on yet you think would help the listener or other salespeople out there that are trying to be successful?
Yeah, like, look, I know we touched on burnout like a little bit, and I think diving a little bit, and sorry for the sirens, I'm in New York City, I'm right next to a hospital, but yeah,
so it's all the burnout, bro. They're all gotta go. They need a little time.
Right. But yeah, so like when it comes to burnout, I mean, that's like a huge thing. Obviously, if you're taking 16 calls a day, right, 5, 6, maybe even 7 days a week, I've had guys on sales teams that I was on doing that. I was the guy that that was doing that at one point, and I figured, hey, like, I'm young, it's fine, I can swing it. But then after like a couple of weeks of doing that, you really feel that shit, man. And like, depending on how your depending on how your specific body works, that might give you a ton of anxiety, right? You might have your like central nervous system all out of whack. So it's so important to make sure that you have enough time to recover, right? But you have the young sales guys that want to stack as much cash as possible, saying, but yeah, Mitch, like, I get it, I know the importance of recovery, but I just want to make as much money as possible. So it's like, cool, you have the rapid close method. You're now able to close 2 calls in the time span that it used to take you to close 1. So you can take 16 calls a day without having to work 16 hours, which is beautiful. You can work like an 8-hour day. You take 16 calls, you close 8 of them or more, and all of a sudden you're like in the top 1% of not just people your age, but in the entire world. And it's the most amazing thing,
Yeah, no, that is incredible. It's so like, it baffles my mind how draining it is for calls. Like, you're just sitting there talking to people, but when you're hammering the phone, man, like, it just takes it out of you somehow. I don't know where it goes. Maybe like you give it to each person you talk to or something, but like, I don't know. I can do hard labor like all day. And then if I do a ton of sales calls though, like, I'm wiped out mentally, it's just wild. So
I'll tell you what though. So it's like, I recently found out, well, not recently, but maybe like 2 years ago is really when I started implementing active listening, right? And active listening, it's really just like mirroring, labeling, paraphrasing, basically the things that Chris Voss talks about in Never Split the Difference and things that he really, really, really preaches. And he's been like one of my favorite mentors, in this time. But only relatively recently did I start doing that. And don't get me wrong, it's literally going to double your close rates, but it does use a lot more of your energy because now you actually have to listen during this stuff, right? Instead of just asking questions and letting them just say whatever, right? So it's a way more sound like strategy for actually closing more deals and making more money, but it does tire you out a little bit more. So you have to balance that out by having those shorter calls and having more time for the proper recovery and everything like that.
Yeah. No, burnout is real. You know, I'm one of those people, like, I'll just die before I stop trying to make money. Like I'll just go crazy. But when I basically hit a slump and like I couldn't figure out why I wasn't closing anymore, you know, it just wasn't clicking anymore. You have to take some time to kind of recenter and get back to it. And my problem I figured out was because I wasn't in love with the product anymore. I had lost faith in it. And like, that's kind of where I was like, I couldn't sell it as well because I wasn't as excited about it. And then basically they hired me and I made the product better. So that's kind of how that went. But burnout, it fucks you up, man.
It does. And like, you're so spot on when you say like you have to love the product you're selling, because if you don't, like, the prospects are going to see right through you. Like they literally see right through you. Anybody with a good human conscience is not going to be able to have the same results selling something that they can't get behind as something that they can. And in reality, like, people think that there are very few good offers where you can make some good money. I disagree. I think there's plenty of offers out there that if you're not passionate about this one product, you can totally jump ship and come on board at like a different company. You just have to know A, where to look, B, you have to know the right people, or C, you could just work with me, right?
Right, there you go. Yeah, just hit this guy. I mean, he's ready to help you out. I think like virtual closing or whatever, virtual high ticket closing is one of the coolest businesses and the best ways for just about anybody to really level up. It's like, you know, I was in the military, so it's like either join the military or start in sales. Like, for something about like having a team and being motivated, it's like Wolf of Wall Street style. Like, sales is just it's an amazing thing. I mean, you don't have you ever done any other sale? Do you like a job do you do it all from your house, right? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. So like in-person work, so when we had the software development agency, we did have an office that we went to at times, but most of our team was actually remote. We just have the office for like easier collaboration. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely awesome that like, and look, I don't always do this, but you could theoretically wake up and in your underwear just go straight.
Yeah, just start hammering calls.
Right? As long as it's not a video call, right? As long as it's not a video call.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a video call, okay, maybe.
I was going to ask you that actually. Do you do video calls to up your sales at all?
Yeah. So over the last year, most of my calls have been video calls. Before that, it was more so phone calls. It's interesting because like with video calls, you're definitely able to actually connect with them more because you actually see each other, you see their facial expressions. But at the same time, during phone calls, if you're actually able to focus yourself and don't have too much ADD or ADHD where you get like distracted too fast, then you might actually have like better tactical strategies for what to say and when to say it, because you could literally be looking in like a random direction and just super focused there and actually be thinking as opposed to being more impulsive, which is what a video call looks like. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. We went from all just phone calls, and then they were trying to make us do more video calls. And I'm a phone call person, but I just was wondering if you had seen more success with video calls. Is there a difference, you think?
You know what? It's like, I think it evens out, right? Yeah. So like, basically what I'm saying is, let's say that I'm speaking to the same person, and then in one universe, it's a video call with them. And in the other universe, it is an audio call with them. On the video call, we're going to connect more and have a little bit more like camaraderie. but on the audio call, I'm going to have better skill and better technique. So it's really pretty much going to even out, and it's you know, it's up to you and your preference.
I guess you hit them more senses, like you can like make eye contact and all that kind of good stuff. So that's kind of cool to go forward. Yeah. I like being on my phone just because I'd be wandering around doing stupid shit and still crushing it and closing sales. So that was cool.
There you go.
Yeah. What other habits do you think have really helped your sales career or led to you being successful?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to like the self-help stuff and like the personal development stuff, like I'm not a insane junkie when it comes to that. But I do implement a lot of the teachings and a lot of the practices. So basically things like, you know, meditation and cold showers and saunas, and just understanding that there is abundance of most things in life, right? And that really, really transfers over to my performance and my demeanor on calls, because I'm super outcome independent. Like I don't care if I close the sale or not. I just care about showing up and serving the prospect as best as I can. And if I do that over a period of time consistently, the results are going to come. The sales will come.
Yeah. So just keep killing it. Well, I got one more question for you. But before we do that, what's the best way for everybody to kind of get in contact with you, or if they want to work with you, or, you know, how can we reach you out on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to get in touch with me is to add me as a friend on Facebook, right? And shoot me a message. My name is Mitch, M-I-T-C-H, Sapoff, S-A-P-O-F-F. I also have a Facebook group called Rapid Closers. This is where I post all of the free content and the live trainings. And it's a great community for people that want to level up their sales game. So yeah, those are the two most important and main ways to get in touch.
Nice. Well, actually, before we get to the last question, my bad. What niches are like most you seeing like that really need salespeople right now, or that you actually have connections with, or, you know, what are you seeing?
Yeah. So it's a lot of biz op stuff, right? So it's like, I will teach you how to start an Amazon business. I will teach you how to trade crypto. I will teach you how to
real estate and all kinds
of
like
it could literally be anything like that. And then we have things like marketing agencies, right? So it's like a email copywriting service. Then you have more in like the productivity and performance space, right? So like helping you win back time on your schedule, and like helping you increase your overall performance 70 to 80%. So you have like offers in that space. And then you have like the done for you stuff, like the automation stuff, right? With the Amazon and the Walmart, like that's pretty popular as well. It really varies. What I see is that it is mostly B2C or B to small b, right? Because if you're doing B2B to bigger companies, it's not going to be a one call close. Like it's going to be a longer sales process. And I've done those before. And like I said, like I prefer the short sales cycles, the more immediate feedback. So that's where most of my connections in the space are as well.
Yeah, just from killing it for lots of different big businesses that are growing and stuff like that. You got any fun sales stories you want to tell everybody real quick before we get off?
God. All right. Is this PG-13?
No. Make it R. Please curse. It makes me feel more comfortable.
It's not just cursing. It's way worse than that. You sure you want to hear it?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, man. So, oh man, I can't believe I'm telling this. So basically, maybe like a year and a half ago, I was on a call with this guy, and like I I have to like think back to exactly how this happened. But yeah, basically he's having a conversation with me, and I asked him a question, something along the lines of like, what are some areas of your life where you feel like you're really crushing it in right now? And the follow-up was going to be, what are some areas in which you feel like you would really want to see some improvement in? And when he's talking about areas of his life where he is actually doing really well, and he said, well, I'm actually a really good multitasker. I'm actually doing that right now. And I didn't really think much of it. I thought maybe he was like on a walk or something like that, or maybe like,
Whatever.
answering his emails. But as we proceed with the conversation, I start hearing, kind of an additional voice in the background. And it at first kind of sounds like a woman that is like nurturing a baby, right? Just in the background. So I figured, okay, so maybe he's just helping his wife with the kid or something like that. And then all of a sudden, these baby nurturing voices turn into like louder and louder and louder moans, right? And then all of a sudden, I hear him start moaning, and he's going crazy, right? So I'm thinking, all right, like what's going on? And then he just hangs up, right? And I needed like a couple of minutes to just catch my breath.
Like, what just happened? Yeah.
What the hell just happened? And then I call him back and I'm like, hey, dude, is everything okay? I heard some strange noises there. And he's like, yep, I was just getting my lunchtime blowjob from my wife.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And I was like, huh. And like ever since then, I've never been able to look at sex and sales the same, right? I have like a completely distorted view of both. And see, like it's funny because then I did not actually pursue him as a client because I knew that he was going to be just like a really fucked up client to work with.
Yeah, right.
But 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 the thing is, so he kept following up with me because he actually apparently really wanted to join the program. He's like, yeah, man, like let me know what I need to do. If it's necessary, I'll get a bunch of people under me. I have someone under me right now, right? I'm like, Jesus Christ. So it's fair to say that I did not end up enrolling him into the program, but no,
not quite the close. It wasn't a video call, right? That's
it was not a video call. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty fucking funny. Every call you get, you gotta be like, all right, you're not getting a blowjob right now, right? Okay, good. That's funny. Oh, good stuff, man. Well, now to totally switch it back to my last question I usually ask everybody that comes on the show, but it's basically like, what motivates you? What keeps you going? What gives you the fire to keep going and keep pushing?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's before I answer that, you mean to like live or to sell?
Just whatever, man. Whatever really like motivates you to. I mean, if money is motivated, if it's if it's your life, your family, like what kind of gets you up every morning and really just makes you want to crush it? Like, what is it for you? I guess.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I love money, I love my family, but I think the the intrinsic motivation that really gets me going is I like genuinely enjoy spreading positive energy and positive vibes to other people. And I think sales is a great way to do that because you have the power to get onto a call with somebody and literally brighten their day, regardless of if they buy or not, right? You're still helping them in one way, shape, or form. And even if you're not helping them, just the fact that you have an ear to listen to what's going on in their life or even entertain them with stories from your life is amazing. And we hold a lot of power with that as salespeople. So we just need to use it for good and not for evil. And yeah, that's what gets me really excited. The other piece of it is like stacking wins. I love the concept of just like building momentum and like one win on top of the other, right? So whether that win be a bunch of closes like one after the other, or it's like an insane breakthrough like that I've had with a new way to teach my methodology or like a new framework or a new addition to my offering, a new piece of content, whatever it is. Like I love stacking wins, and that's what really gives me life and gives me energy and can keep me going from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. all day.
That's awesome, man. I think it's good to share the joys of life. And with sales, you definitely talk to enough people to, you can brighten a few people's day. So that's pretty sick.
Yes, absolutely.
What was the name of your Facebook group, right? It's the Rapid Closer Method, or how do you say it?
Yep. So the Facebook group is Rapid Closers, right? Colon, a community for world-class salespeople, right? So if you type in Rapid Closers, you will be able to see that group. And the best way to reach out to me personally, you could reach me on Facebook, Mitch Sapoff. The other way to reach out to me is you could send me an email, mitch@rapidclosemethod.com.
Awesome, man. Well, you are world class. I love it.
Sure.
I appreciate you coming on here today. I hope everybody got some great nuggets out of this, and be sure to share this with your friends. And if you're looking to get into sales, reach out to Mitch. Man, it sounds like a good plan. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming. You got any last words?
Any last words?
Put you on the spot.
Last words. Well, give me some context. Like, give me a prompt.
I don't know. What's your salesman mantra? What do you got one?
What's your salesman mantra? Let's get this paper.
Get it. Let's go. Get this paper. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. You guys have a good day. Bye.